What do a Chianti and a Brunello wine have in common? Well, besides being amazing red wines from Italy, that is. Need a hint? Both wines are based upon the same grape, Sangiovese. It is one of the most important grapes of Italy, being, after all, the most cultivated red variety in the country. So, it's important and we should learn some more about it. I'm Jacqueline from Vero, and in this video we are going to find out what is so special about Sangiovese to make it coveted for famous wines like the aforementioned Chianti and Brunello. To help us understand, let's first look at a touch of history. For such a famous grape, the history of Sangiovese is actually a little murky. While it's generally agreed upon that the grape originates in Italy, the regions of Tuscany and Romagna both try to claim birthright. A popular theory is that it comes from an area of Romagna nearby to the neighboring Tuscany. Moving back to modern times, Sangiovese vines can be found planted in a number of Italian regions, reaching from coast to coast of the peninsula across the central area. As well, the variety has spread internationally, with significant plantings being found in California, Argentina, and Australia. So, what is the wine from this grape like? Let's start from the outside and work our way in. First, the color. You will notice that Sangiovese wines are usually a medium red color, moving between a garnet tinted ruby and a garnet color, depending on the aging. They are not super deeply colored, and they stay on the lighter side of the transparency spectrum. This, however, is not a sign of quality, but rather a quirk in the biology of the Sangiovese grape itself. A red wine's color comes from the skins of the grapes, which contain anthocyanins, or pigments. During the winemaking process, these pigments are extracted, and this is what gives red wines their ruby, garnet, or purple colors. There are a few different types of these anthocyanins, but today we are interested in one in particular. Cyanin. So cyanin is a particularly unstable pigment and is easily broken down by oxidation, meaning that wines with a high amount of cyanin are more prone to having lighter tinted wines. And guess what? Sangiovese is one of those grapes rich in cyanin. This means that it will never have a dark ruby black or purple color, but always remain a bit lighter and a little bit more see-through in your glass. However, it is important to note that one should not judge a book by its cover, or rather a wine by its color. For while Sangiovese might be lighter of color, this does not mean it is light on bouquet or flavor. In fact, it's quite the opposite. After all, this is the same thing that happens with the famous Barolo wine that has the same trait, with the Nebbiolo grape also is very rich in cyanin, and neither of these wines are considered little wines. All right, so what are some of the most typical aromas and flavors that we can find in a Sangiovese wine? This is where it gets interesting. You see, Sangiovese can be very site sensitive, so depending on where winemakers decide to plant it, the wine will reflect this decision. For example, consider just the differences between a Tuscan Sangiovese or a Romagna Sangiovese. They're two regions that are basically next door to each other, but create vastly different wines. In Romagna, at a slightly more northern angle to Tuscany, we find Sangioveses that have more acidity, more floral bouquets, and stronger tannins. It can require more time to ripen on the vine to reach its full potential in this area. Yet, in Tuscany, where Chianti, Brunello, and Vino Nobile di Montepulciano are from, the Sangiovese wines finish with more full-bodied, rounder, and with a softer tannic structure. What are some of these descriptors that we find in Sangiovese? Well, on the nose, typically you will find lots of fruit notes, especially sour cherries, and some herbal and earthy undertones too. But it is on the palate that Sangiovese excels. Here, flavors can range from fresh and fruity, like juicy cherries and berries, to herbaceous, like crunchy garden tomatoes. Sometimes you can taste sweeter notes as well, like vanilla or toasty things like coffee beans. In well-made wines, the crunchy acidity will blend with the rough tannins to be evened out with a juicy softness. And it is worth to note that just like Sangiovese is site sensitive, it is also sensitive to aging and winemaking techniques. What flavors might start out as fresh, lively, and fruity, with time and wood aging can be rounded into fuller, chewier wines. This is why Sangiovese can be such a fun wine to explore. The combinations and ways to try it between location, styles are endless. And that was Sangiovese. Now, where can you find yourself some delicious Sangiovese wines to try? Well, at the Vero shop at verovino.com, you must only pick where the Sangiovese comes from. If you're looking for Sangiovese from Romagna, you need not look further than the Braschi winery, offering Sangiovese Superiore and a Sangiovese Superiore Riserva. The limestone and sand soils of their Bertinoro vineyards give the wines just the right amount of stress to produce amazing fruit. And Vero Tuscan Sangioveses can be a bit more diverse. You can try the woman-made, all-natural Tarconte from La Magliosa in Maremma in southern Tuscany. Or you can head into the historic and famous village of Montalcino to find the Cannellino winery. Here, they produce 3 Sangiovese wines, all made with native yeast fermentation. In fact, Sangiovese is the only grape they grow. You can try the lighter fare Rosso di Toscana, the baby Brunello Rosso di Montalcino, or head straight to the top of the list with the king of Italian wine, Brunello di Montalcino. All right, are you now ready to taste some Sangiovese wines from Italy? Remember, head over to the Vero shop at verovino.com and check out the links in the description below for more of our coverage on Sangiovese. Thanks for joining me today. Remember to leave a thumbs up below if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye!